The story, told on Willow Pattern China, is the tale of two tragic lovers. Kung Se, a beautiful maiden from a wealthy family, and Chang, a talented but poor scribe. Kung Se loved Chang as he watched him working from the doorway. Chang would write many letters for her father. Sometimes he smiled at her, his dark eyes dancing. First Chang made ink, then he picked up his bamboo brush and carefully drew the Mandarin characters onto the crisp paper. Chang left the letters on the desk. On his way past, he gave Kung Se a silk poem with a sprig of peach blossom. The breeze frees the blossoms, but as I pass beneath the peach trees in your father's orchard, I think only of the bloom on your cheeks and when we may next meet. Kung Se's old father walked into the room a moment later. He glanced at the silk poem in Kung Se's hand. He gazed at the sprig of blossom and he glared at Chang. Kung Se's maid said, "You must meet Chang in the Garden of Joy." Surely the spirits of joy would protect them. The next day, Kung Se left her father's house. She crossed two bridges. She climbed the stone steps and made her way to the lotus pool in the Garden of Joy. Chang sat by the edge of the pool, waiting. Now old father followed Kung Se and found her with Chang in the Garden of Joy. He was filled with rage. He threatened to have Chang killed if he ever visited Kung Se again. Old father sent the maid away too. He employed a woman with the meanest face who was always angry. She guarded Kung Se day and night. Poor Kung Se. Poor Kung Se. She missed the maid, and she missed Chang too. Her father arranged for her to marry a powerful lord, a tajin of great wealth. He was very old. Kung Se wept. Her father built a huge wall around the house. She could only see the peach blossoms from the very top floor. Sometimes she would sneak out of her bed and up the stairs. At the top of the house, she would peer down at the tiled roofs below and out into the orchard. She would imagine Chang in the garden, beneath the willow trees. He was strong and flexible, like them. She would remember his dark eyes, smiling. But then she would turn around, a mean face was always there, behind her. She dreamed she was as free as the blossom, fluttering upon the breeze. One day Kung Se walked by the river. Meanface had stopped to admire a pagoda with a decoration of an evil prince riding a hen. Upon the river current came a large seashell carrying a silk letter. Quickly, Kung Se hid it beneath her robe. Meanface approached. "What are you doing?" she asked angrily. "Admiring the ripples of the water," Kung Se replied. Later, she read the letter. Chang promised to meet her. The wedding was fast approaching. Kung Se was not to meet her future husband until her wedding day. The Tajin had presented her father with a chest of gleaming jewels, but they made Kung Se weep. The two men drank together. Kung Se climbed to the top story of her father's house. She stared out at the tiled rooftops. Beyond the orchard, the river flowed. How she longed to be as free as the ripples upon the water. She turned around, but Meanface was not there. Kung Se returned to her room. She crept into Meanface's room. She found a servant's uniform in the cupboard and put it on. She then walked downstairs and out into the gardens. Chang was hiding in the courtyard. They crept across the bridge and away into the shadow of the willow trees. When old father woke, he climbed the stairs, only to find his daughter's room empty. His face turned dark and he trembled with anger. He strode to Meanface's room. She woke up. Suddenly, she sat up in bed, startled. Old father told the Tajin. They hunted for the two lovers. Eventually they came to the lotus pool, but Chang and Kung Se had secretly married earlier. Chang had a small boat. They sailed along the river until they came to an island, and there they lived happily together for many years. Chang became a great poet. His stories and poems were published in books which were read all over China. Others were sent along the Silk Route to distant countries. Kung Se loved her island life, for she was as free as the blossom. She made paper and ink for Chang to write his great tales. They tended their garden together and grew many vegetables. One day, the powerful Tajin read one of Chang's tales. He sent soldiers with swords to the island to hunt Chang and Kung Se. The soldiers stormed the island while Kung Se and Chang slept. They raised their swords, and moments later, the two were dead. The wicked Tajin set fire to the cottage, and the flames spread across the whole island. Yet the gods knew of their great love. So the tragic tale of Kung Se and Chang does not end here. They brought them back to life as two doves. And today on Willow Pattern China, we still see Kung Se and Chang above the bridge. Two happy doves are flying over branches of blossom. A willow tree sways in the breeze. Kung Se and Chang are free forever.